Hi everybody. From the feedback that I've seen, or from the work that I saw last week, I noticed that we're still making some errors, the same errors as we was doing the week before, and it's really important. So I just thought we'd do a quick lesson on just understanding how important the use of a zero as a placeholder is, because it's really important that we get this so that we can move on to the next stage. So here we have a number. Talking about here, we have a number. We have 502. Now we use the zero here in this column because it designates that there is no tens. It's really important. It doesn't have a value on its own. It's just telling us there's no tens, but it's really important for this number here, because without this zero, this whole number becomes 52. Yeah, so we've got 52. We couldn't have there, so we have to have this in there to stop this becoming 52. That's really important. Yeah, we use zeros to keep the digits in the correct column. We can call it a placeholder because when we think about our place value, it is holding the place value. Yeah, if we didn't have it, we'd have 52, as we've said. It's really important. Oh, wrong way. So, here we've got a question here. Mr. Johnson has written 508 on the board. However, Sally has said that the number is 58. Why isn't she right? We know that she's wrong, but why is she wrong? What misunderstanding has she got? And what is her thinking? Try and get into her mind and think about what misunderstanding has she got. Pause the video, have a think, talk to the person that might be helping you, maybe just talk to your screen. It's good just to talk out loud sometimes. So, she might think, so I think that she thinks that because this zero has no value, there's no point putting it in there. Because it doesn't have a value, it's telling them there's no tens in there, so why should we worry about them? So she's read it as 58. When actually, that zero is telling us there's no tens, there are 500s, and it's keeping all of our digits in the correct place, because without it, it would be 58. Yeah, it's really important. The zero is holding the tens position. Think about how they all want to collapse down. So what I want you to do is I want you to take all of these numbers and just have a think about, maybe explain to the person who's with you, maybe just explain it to yourself, maybe write it down. What value does the zero have in the following numbers, and what is its purpose? So for example, you might say, in 310, the zero is showing that there are no ones, or sometimes you call them units. Without it, the number would be 31. That's why it's important to have. Even though there's no ones, we still need that zero in there, because otherwise 310 becomes 31. So I want you to do the same thing for the rest of these, for the last 5. So, here we go. Again, it's holding the units, holding the unit position. Otherwise we'd have 31. Here it's holding the tens position, which is really important because we've got 0 tens. Without it, we'd have one lot of 10 and we'd have 17. Here again, we're holding the tens position. Without it, it'd be 22. Here we're holding the units. It's really important because we've got 5 tens here, not 5 ones. Without that, we get 75, which would be 70 and 5. And actually, we don't want 75, we want 750. 101, again, it's holding that tens position. Without it, we'd have 11. But we don't want any tens, because actually, with 11, we've got 1 10. 490, holding that units position to make sure we've got 490, not 49. So the real importance is when we come to a calculation like this. This is the error that I'm seeing, and I will explain it in a bit more detail. So we've got 408 multiplied by 23. So we've got 400 in this column here, or in this row, apologies. We've got 408 multiplied by 3. And yes, we've got a 2 there, but we're not multiplying by 2, we're multiplying by 2 tens. So that's 408 multiplied by 20. Now, because that is so important, and that is what we are forgetting, it's always good. First thing you do, put that in there. Before you start the question, put that placeholder in there. Now you don't need to worry about it. Because what that is doing, that is going to hold that unit's position, because it will always be 10 times larger than the 2. So we can go through and we can do the 3 times 8, 3 times 0, 3 times 4. And what I want you to do is work it out, but I want you to put that in there first. That is going to hold our tens, because we'll be multiplying by 10 and not multiplying by 2. Give it your best shot. Try and work this out. So here, we have our 3 times 408. We put that in there. We do our 4 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. Put the 4 there, carry the 2. And then we got our 3 times nothing is nothing. Add the 2. So that's why the 2 is in there. 3 times 4 is 12, of course. Well done. Hopefully, you've got your placeholder in there already. And if you didn't have your placeholder in there, stick your placeholder in now, before you even look at that 2. So hopefully you can multiply by 2. We're going to do the 2 times 8 is 16. So of course we'll have our 6 going, and our 1 will come across there. 2 times nothing is of course nothing. Add our 1. Where's it gone? Add our 1 is 1. And we can do 2 times 4, which is of course 8. And then you're going to add them up. But it's really important for that 0 to be in there, because otherwise we've got 816. If we didn't have that, that's why it's so important. And I want to see people remembering this. Even if you have to have a post-it note that says, when I'm multiplying by double digits, when I times by the 10, I stick that in there first. Hopefully when you add them up, we get that number. So well done if you got that number. But the importance is on this, because that's what's missing. So your activity today is to create a poster, a photo, or a video explaining the importance of that 0 when it comes to 3-digit by 2-digit calculations. And you're going to be explaining 0 as a placeholder, and it's important. So what I want you to be really creative. You can use colours. You can use what I would do if it was me. I would start off with my calculation, a 3-digit number. I'm just going to go like that, and then I would have things labelled. So I would put that in there. I would have like number 1, put in placeholder, and make it into a poster. Yeah? Use whatever you have at home to make a poster. The more colourful you can do it, the better. But the importance is to show 0 as a placeholder. It's this 0 down here. Yeah? You might also talk about it in your calculation up here. But this is the main one, putting that 0 in. Yeah. Remember to include 0 within your calculation to show its importance as a placeholder. That's what I'm going to start explaining how we do 3-digit by 2-digit calculations, and most importantly, the importance of 0 as a placeholder. Feel free to look over the previous videos. You can probably find them in the playlist somewhere. But it's really important that we start to understand this.